Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Chaya Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirye Nashtavrayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavati Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtike. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 2, the activities of Maharaj Agnidhra, text number 6 onwards. So as we studied yesterday, the Maharaj Agnidhra was doing his tapasya to go to Pitriloka, and Brahmaji sent this Apsara, Purva Chitti, from his Loka to have the union with Agnidhra. तामेवा विदुरे मधुकिरीमेव सुमनस् उपजिघ्रन्तीं दिविजम् अनुजमनोनयनालाद दुघैर्गतिविहार व्रीडा विनय अवलोक सुस्वरक्षार वयवैर मनसि नृणां कुसुमायुधस्य विदधति विवरं निजमुख विगलित अमृत सह सव सहास भाषणं मोदमादाः मधुकर निक्लोपरोधेन द्रुतपद विन्यासेन वल्गु स्पन्दनस्तनकलशकभार रशनां देवीं तदवलोकनेन विवृतावसरस्य भगवतो मकरध्वजस्य वशम उपनीतो जडवाद इति होवाच. Very difficult words to chant. Like a honeybee, the Apsara smelled the beautiful and attractive flowers. She could attract the minds and visions of both humans and demigods by her playful movements, her shyness and humility, her glances, the very pleasing sounds that poured from her mouth as she spoke, and the motion of her limbs. By all these qualities, she opened for Cupid, who bears an arrow of flowers, a path of oral reception into the minds of men. When she spoke, nectar seemed to flow from her mouth. As she bred, the bees, mad for taste of her breath, tried to hover about her beautiful lotus-like eyes. Disturbed by the bees, she tried to move hastily, but as she raised her feet to walk quickly, her hair, the belt on her hips, and her breasts, which were like water jugs, also moved in a way that made her extremely beautiful and attractive. Indeed, she seemed to be making path for the entrance of Cupid, who is most powerful. Therefore, the prince, completely subdued by seeing her, spoke to her as follows. How a beautiful woman's movements and gestures, her hair and the structure of her breasts, hips, and other bodily features attracts the minds not only of men but of demigods also is very finely described in this statement. And so before going to the rest of the purport, just imagine all this is being spoken by Shukdev Goswami, the topmost of the renunciants. Of course, he would roam around naked, but he was way beyond the bodily conception of life. And he is describing this way. So he's not at all attached. He's just describing whatever he's seeing. That's all. And all the sages, all the wonderful assembly that he had over there. And similar thing will be described by Suta Goswami to 88,000 sages in Naimisharanya. So it's not that when people describe self-realized souls like Shukdev Goswami and Suta Goswami, and the realized souls who are listening to it, they will get deviated. They'll get distracted. But it has to be described so that they can further know that that we have to be very strong not to fall in Maya. And Agnidhra, of course, his aim was to have such a wife. So he was doing tapasya like that. The words Dvija and Divija and Manuja specifically emphasize that the attraction of feminine gestures is powerful everywhere within this material world, both on this planet and in the higher planetary systems. It is said that the standard of living in the higher planetary systems is thousands and thousands of times higher than the standard of living on this planet. Therefore, the beautiful bodily features of the women there are also thousands and thousands of times more attractive than the features of the women on earth. The Creator has constructed women in such a way that their beautiful voices and the movements and beautiful features of the hips, the breasts, and the other parts of the bodies attract members of the opposite. When one is controlled by Cupid or the beauty of women, he becomes stunned like matter such as stone. Captivated by the material movements of the woman, he wants to remain in this material world. Thus, one's promotion to the spiritual world is checked simply by seeing the beautiful body structure and movements of women. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has therefore warned all devotees to beware of the attraction of beautiful women in materialistic civilization. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu even refused to see Prataprudra Maharaj because he was a very opulent person in the material world. Lord Chaitanya said in this connection, Nishkinchanasya Bhagavad Bhajanon Mukhasya, those who are engaged in the devotional service of the Lord, because they're very serious about going back to Godhead, should be very careful to avoid seeing the beautiful gestures of women, and should also avoid seeing persons who are very rich. So along with the description, Prabhupada gives his purport also and warning us and how to avoid getting attracted by the beautiful features of the opposite sex. It goes for both, men and women, both. Alas, for a person who is seriously desiring to cross the material ocean and engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord without material motives, seeing a materialist engaged in sense gratification or seeing a woman who is similarly interested is more abominable than drinking poison willingly. So that was the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when Maharaj Prataprudra, who's actually a devotee, he was a king of state of Odisha at that time, but he was a devotee of Lord Jagannath. And he was doing so much of service for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his devotees, his associates. Was still when Maharaj Prataprudra tried to meet him, he sent a message to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would not relent, he would not meet him. He says, this is what he said, for a person who is seriously desiring to cross the material ocean and engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord without material motives, seeing a materialist engaged in sense gratification or seeing a woman who is similarly interested is more abominable than drinking poison willingly. Means it's even more abominable than committing suicide. So Mahaprabhu was setting the standard. When Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya pressed, Mahaprabhu said, I'm a sannyasi, I cannot meet a person who's so materialistic. And if you all, because then Nityananda Prabhu also asked him, but then he said, if you all force me to meet Maharaj Prataprudra, then I'll leave this place and go and live in Alarnath. I will not come back here again. Then everybody just stopped. They just didn't want Mahaprabhu to leave. But at the same time, see, Devotees are more merciful than the Lord himself. At the same time, they engage Maharaj Prataprudra in the service of the devotees. So Maharaj Prataprudra, he arranged the retirement of Ramanand Rai, and he brought Ramanand Rai to Jagannath Puri and gave him full pension, full salary as a pension till the end of his life. So Mahaprabhu was happy with that. And when the devotees would come from Mayapur, Navadvip for Rath Yatra, Maharaj Prataprudra would arrange their prasadam, their places of stay, and wonderful welcome he would arrange for them. So again, Mahaprabhu was getting pleased. And obviously so many activities Maharaj Prataprudra did. Him and his associates arranged during the Gundicha temple, Marjanam, and when Haridas Thakur passed away, then they arranged for the prasadam. So many things Maharaj Prataprudra did, but still Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so strict, he would not meet him. So finally one day he relented, okay, I will not meet him, but he can send his son. Son is a representative of father, and so I'll meet the son. So the son came, a little boy, and he was dressed in Pitambar. The devotees are very smart also. They knew if Mahaprabhu sees the son dressed in Pitambar, he'll remember Krishna, and then he will be more merciful upon us. So same thing happened, Mahaprabhu, when he saw the son in Pitambar, and he was very, very happy, and then he gave him his own uttari, the upper cloth. So Maharaj Prataprudra received that upper cloth from his son, and then he just worshipped it as if he is worshipping Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But still, in his desire, he had this desire to, in his heart, he had the desire to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and get his mercy personally. So that happened on the day of Jagannath Rath Yatra. So before the Rath Yatra starts, Lord Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, when they come sit on their chariots, then it's a custom, it's a tradition that the king of Puri, he would go and broom, clean the road in front of the chariot, assuming a very, very humble position in front of Lord Jagannath. And Maharaj Prataprudra did that, and that melted Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's heart. So it's a tradition that Jagannath's Rath always stops at Jagannath Vallabh Garden, in front of the Jagannath Vallabh Garden on the road. And then he doesn't move for a while. So Mahaprabhu, when he was dancing in front of Jagannath's chariot, so he was dancing, and then he got very tired when the Rath came to Jagannath Vallabh Garden. So Mahaprabhu went inside the garden because he knew it will take time. And he went to take rest. So the devotees now understood this is the time when Maharaj Prataprudra can get the mercy. So they dressed him, they asked him to take off his royal clothes and dressed him as a simple Vaishnava and sent him to serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. See, this is also one of the beautiful features of devotees. They're not envious. If we are envious, we are not devotees. In spiritual world, nobody's envious of anybody else. They're all helping each other. They're all trying to serve each other. So all the devotees, they just, hearts are melting that they wanted to see Maharaj Prataprudra getting the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's all. So they arranged this meeting. So Mahaprabhu was sleeping under a tree, and they sent Maharaj Prataprudra. They didn't go themselves. They didn't tell Maharaj, oh, Mahaprabhu told you he's not going to see you, so you just don't come here, go away. Even Govind, who was a personal attendant of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he just stayed away. They sent Maharaj Pratap Rudra. And Maharaj Pratap Rudra went, he started massaging Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet. And then Mahaprabhu, he knew who it was. He is the Supreme Lord. But with his eyes closed, he asked, who is it? And then Maharaj Pratap Rudra started chanting this verse from Gopi Gita. I'm forgetting the beginning of that verse. Basically, it says, Tav Kathamritam, Tav Kathamritam, Tapta Jivanam, Kavi Bhirititam, Kalmashapaham. So when he started chanting, and then it says, Bhurida Jana, that you're the most magnificent. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got up. His eyes were still closed, but he came into so much of ecstasy. He got up and he embraced Maharaj Pratap Rudra. And in his embrace and his eyes closed, he's saying, who are you? You're the most magnificent. You're the most magnificent. You're the most merciful. Who are you? Who are you? Mahaprabhu knew who he is, but he still wanted to ask. So Maharaj Pratap Rudra then said, I'm not a Brahman, not a Kshatriya, not a Vaishya, not Shudra, not Grasta, not Vanprastha. I'm just a servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna. And that's what pleased Chaitanya Mahaprabhu so much. So then everybody, all the devotees, were so pleased, so happy, so jubilant that finally Maharaj Pratap Rudra got the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That is devotion service. Nobody gave him a title that, oh, you are fallen, you are condemned, get out of here. No. They tried their best. The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives him the mercy, and when he got the mercy, they were all very happy, genuinely happy. And this is what makes them very dear to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Not that when we show off our scholarship or money or some other opulence. Krishna is full of all these opulences. What are we trying to impress him with? He's full of these opulences. He doesn't need to see all this. Only thing he wants to see, how much compassion we have, how much caring we have in our hearts, how much we are trying to take a lower position and serve others. That's all he wants to see. So anyway, I don't know how I got distracted from the shloka, but this is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is warning us, that one should not associate so much with the people in the materialistic mood of sense enjoyment. We should not associate. But for the preaching purposes, we do, but we have to understand our limits, and at the same time, we have to immunize ourselves by chanting properly in the morning. But again and again, Prabhupada has warned us, Mahaprabhu has warned us. So our sadhana bhakti should be so good that we don't get distracted by either seeing a person of opposite sex or a very wealthy person, or anyway somebody is very attractive or whatever opulence he has. So we should not get distracted from the path of bhakti. Ka tvam chikishasi cha kim munivarya shale ayasi kapi bhagvat paradevatayah vijye vibharshi dhanushi suhrid atmano arthe Kimba mrigan mrigayase vipine pramattan. The prince mistakenly addressed the Apsara, O best of saintly persons, who are you? Why are you on this hill and what do you want to do? Are you one of the illusory potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? You seem to be carrying two bows, bows with strings. That's her eyes. What's the reason you carry these bows? Is it for some purpose of your own or for the sake of a friend? Perhaps you carry them to kill the mad elements in this forest. While undergoing severe penances in the forest, Agnidhra was captivated by the movements of Purvachitti, the girl sent by Lord Brahma. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, calmest as the Hritajnana. When one becomes lusty, he loses his intelligence. Therefore, Agnidhra, having lost his intelligence, could not distinguish whether Purvachitti was male or female. He mistook her for a Muniputra, the son of a saintly person in the forest, and addressed her as Muni Varya. He was thinking she's a sage. Because of her personal beauty, however, he could not believe her to be a boy. He therefore began studying her features. First, he saw her two eyebrows, which was so expressive that he wondered whether he or she might be the Maya of the Supreme Personality of God. The words used in this connection are Bhagvat Para Devataya, Devata, the demigods, all belong to this material world. Whereas Bhagwan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is always beyond this material world and is therefore known as Paradevata. The material world is certainly created by Maya, but it is created under the direction of Paradevata, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Maya Adhyakshena Parakriti Suyate Sacharachara. Maya is not the ultimate authority for the creation of this material world. Maya acts on behalf of Krishna. So Agnidhra was completely confused. Who is this girl? So Purvachitti's eyebrows were so beautiful that Agnidhra compared them to bows without strings. He therefore asked her whether they were to be used for her own purposes or for the sake of someone else. Her eyebrows were like two bows meant to kill animals in the forest. This material world is like a great forest, and its inhabitants are like forest animals, such as deer and tigers, meant to be killed. The killers are the eyebrows of beautiful women. Captivated by the beauty of the fair sex, all the men of the world are killed by bows without strings, but cannot see how they are killed by Maya. So captivated by the beauty of the fair sex, all the men of the world are killed by bows without strings, but they cannot see how they are killed by Maya. It's a fact, however, that they are being killed, bhutva bhutva praliyate. By dint of his tapasya, Agnidhra could understand how Maya acts under the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this has been true since times immemorial, since the beginning of creation. This and this. Men just get attracted by the beauty of women, and they do all sorts of nonsense things. Of course, the tendency comes because it's in Krishna. Krishna gets so attracted by the beauty of Srimati Radharani. So attracted that she just gives him a glance, just a sidelong glance. She doesn't even look at him directly, straightforward, because just a sidelong glance. When Krishna sees that, he gets completely out of control. His flute flies off, his dhoti gets loose, and he just completely gets out of control just by one sidelong glance of Srimati Radharani. But there's a difference. Srimati Radharani is not Maya, and Krishna, when he gets attracted, because there's this true love, it's a spiritual love. We get attracted because we are in Maya, and it's out of lust only we get attracted. Huge difference, huge difference. Just like iron and gold. Both are metal, but gold is gold and iron is iron. But the point is, he has these tendencies, so we have this tendency. We are part and parcel of Krishna. But one who takes shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, he gets out of the entanglement of Maya. So Krishna's attraction to Srimati Radharani is not out of Maya. It's completely spiritual. It's a complete love. So we cannot compare that to our attraction, which is complete lust, nothing love, no love. The word pramattan is also significant. Pramata refers to one who cannot control his senses. The entire material world is being exploited by people who are pramatta or vimula. Prahlad Maharaj therefore said, they are rotting in material activities for transient material pleasure and spoiling their lives, toiling all day and night simply for sense gratification and with no attachment for love of Godhead. I'm simply lamenting for them and devising various plans to deliver them from the clutches of Maya. Karmis who act very seriously for sense gratification are always referred to in the Shastras by such terms as Pramata, Vimukha, and Vimula. They are killed by Maya. However, one who is apramata, a sane, sober person, a dhira, knows very well that a human being's primary duty is to render service to the Supreme Person. Maya is always ready to kill those who are pramata with her invisible bows and arrows. Agnidhra questioned Purvachitti about this. So he was doing his tapasya and Purvachitti came, and we can understand how beautiful she must be. She came right from Satyaloka. And Agnidhra just got completely bewildered, got completely controlled by the Maya, by the beauty of this fair sex. It's very, very difficult. Although Agnidhra is son of Maharaj Priyavrat, but still, Maya can control and capture anybody and everybody. Just got to take shelter of lotus feet of Krishna, the holy name of Krishna. And then there's a chance that we won't get entangled. So anyway, we'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments? Okay, so you all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Jai
Krishna.
Shri Prabhupada.
Jai Shri